A brand new website invites parents and teachers to expose classroom radicalism as public school enrollment across the nation plummets. In this video, we're going to take a look at what in many respects is the mainstreaming of Project Veritas when it comes to exposing critical race theory in our classrooms, how enrollment in our public schools has reached an all-time low, and how both trends suggest that the days of cultural Marxist elites running our cultural institutions may indeed be coming to a very swift end. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Wonderful to be with you. As always, we're here to give you each and every single day conservative hope in the midst of these turbulent and trying times, helping you to think better so you can feel better and provide for you a patriot path to freedom. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Before we begin, did you know new research shows residential power outages have nearly doubled in the last 3 years? The number of blackouts is skyrocketing, and hundreds of millions of Americans are impacted yearly. The average American now experiences a power outage that lasts at least 7.8 hours per year, which is double from 2016. Now, of course, one easy fix for this is a backup generator, but those are expensive and inconvenient. But there's another option here, so much easier than a generator. They're called power light bulbs. They're really amazing. Get this. These are light bulbs that light up automatically in the event of a power outage. I'm not kidding. I mean, power light bulbs eliminates blackouts from your life forever and gives you peace of mind during an emergency or a natural disaster. They work like normal bulbs, but they're self-charging, and they have backup emergency batteries that automatically keep your house lit when a power outage is detected. It's really pretty amazing stuff. All you got to do is click on that link below and get this. You're going to get the power light bulb for up to 67% off, or just go to their website at powerlightbulb.com. That's powerlightbulb.com, and eliminate blackouts from your life today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. We're seeing a great new resource for parents and students concerned about the cultural Marxist radicalism in our public school classrooms. The North Carolina Education Advocacy Group has just launched a website to help whistleblowers expose the leftist insanity in our K-12 schools. This is from the Washington Free Beacon. The organization called Education First Alliance has launched its Schoolhouse Shock watchdog site on Monday to help parents and teachers call attention to radicalism in the classroom. Users can anonymously upload videos, photos, documents from their child's class to catalog critical race theory-based lessons being taught in our schools. According to Sloan Rachmuth, the president of Education First Alliance, quote, "Our new statewide whistleblower program, Schoolhouse Shock, will add to our toolbox in the fight against the onslaught of racially inflammatory and sexualized curriculums that children are being immersed in all over North Carolina." Now, Rachmuth, interestingly enough, is actually an investigative reporter. And so in many respects, what we're seeing here, I think, is really the mainstreaming of the Project Veritas undercover reporting that we all know and love and very, very much appreciate. This is a website dedicated to encouraging parents and students and even conservative educators in the public schools to anonymously document and showcase firsthand examples of left-wing radicalism in the classroom. It's really quite brilliant. It was inspired in response to the North Carolina Board of Education back in February adopting radical curriculum standards built around critical race theory, which, of course, as you know, if you're a regular to this channel, promotes the notion that American economic and political systems are inherently racist and bigoted. Critical race theory is the operative interpretive methodology of cultural Marxists, which actively seeks to undermine and overturn the foundational institutions of our nation. We're, of course, seeing this with the whole Derek Chauvin trial, right? Like we covered just in our first video today that you want to check out, where the mainstream Marxist media has collaborated with the political left to turn the trial into a full-blown kangaroo court, where the verdict has already been predetermined before a single argument had ever been made in court. Same goes with the ridiculous and thus far failed attempt at seeking to pack the Supreme Court with as many as 4 new justices, which would, of course, effectively expand the court from 9 to 13 justices. They're actively attempting to turn our justice system into a nationalized kangaroo court. So the left is actively engaged in attempting to, in effect, overthrow the United States of America. That's why more and more pundits are recognizing that there are, in fact, two populations in our nation. The great divide is more and more over those who love America and those who hate America. Those who still believe in the values and the institutions of America versus those who openly believe those values and institutions are inherently racist and bigoted. It's between those who support America first versus those who support a post-American world, those who hate America and who are actively attempting to dismantle our nation at the border with regard to energy independence and manufacturing and industry, and recast our historic culture, customs, and traditions as inherently racist, sexist, and all kinds of phobic. And at the heart of this project, as we talked about in yesterday's video on Maxine Waters, at the heart of this post-American project is convincing our children over the course of 13 years of schooling to hate our country and hate everything that America has historically stood for. And so this website now is a platform where parents, students, and teachers can collectively post documented examples of this radically destructive cultural Marxism in the classroom. And I hope that this is duplicated in every single state in the nation. Now, like I said earlier, this really is brilliant because now that cultural Marxists have infested virtually every leadership position in virtually every major cultural institution, from our politics to our deep state, our education, our corporate boardrooms, Hollywood entertainment, now even our professional sports leagues, you name it. Now that they've embedded themselves into the leadership position of our various cultural institutions, it's going to be incumbent upon freedom-loving patriots to stand up and engage in their own form of investigative reporting, whistleblowing, right, on the ground, real, grassroots documentation of all the absurdities perpetrated in the name of cultural Marxist ideological orthodoxy. And that alone could bring the entire edifice down. The nationalized exposure, the radicalism of these leftist activists, right, could be the key to bringing down the whole edifice. And with the latest numbers coming in with regard to public school enrollment, we actually may not be far off from precisely that. Take a look at this. This is from NPR. Enrollment is dropping in public schools around the country. This is coming from data at the beginning of this school year, 2020 to 2021. At least 20 states have seen shrinking numbers of students this fall, with Orange County, Miami-Dade County, and Florida down 8,000, 16,000 public school students respectively. And in the city of Los Angeles, public school enrollment has dropped by nearly 11,000 students. And in Arizona, public school enrollment has actually dropped by 50,000 students. We could go on. And to me, this is absolutely fascinating because, you're going to love this, okay? Now, I've lived in Delaware for the last several years. Well, you're not going to care about that, but listen to this. Delaware has twice the national average for private school attendance, all right? The public schools are exceptionally bad in Delaware, okay? And so, on average, 20% of Delaware students attend private school or are homeschooled, okay? That's double the national average, is about 10% of students not in public schools. So, get this. As of this school year, get this, the national average of children enrolled in a district public school declined to 76% of the overall U.S. K-12 population. In other words, the national averages surpassed the statewide average in Delaware to nearly 25% of students leaving the public schools. This is utterly astonishing. Delaware was twice the national average at the beginning of the school year. Now they're below the national average. Did you see this? Homeschooling has shot up 300% during this pandemic. You heard that right, 300%. We did a video on this a couple of weeks ago. Before the pandemic, the Census Bureau reported that about 3.3% of students in the U.S. were homeschooled. In the spring of 2020, right, this is last year when schools started to close down, that number of families who identified themselves as homeschooling families rose to 5.4% students. But as it turns out, that was just the beginning. At the beginning of the fall of 2020, the start of this new school year, so many parents were satisfied with the experience of their kids learning at home, the number of families who identified as homeschoolers shot up to 11.1% of students in the nation. In less than a year, we've gone from 3.3% of students being homeschooled to 11.1%. This represents the single greatest surge in homeschooling we've ever seen, at least since the comeback of homeschooling a few decades ago. And according to an analysis by the Cato Institute, nearly 1/4 private schools surveyed across the nation reported significant growth in their enrollment over the last year, particularly Catholic schools. So what we're seeing here really is nothing less than a massive backlash against the teachers' unions and the public school administrations that are seeking to shove radical critical race theory and cultural Marxism down the throats of their students. More and more parents recognize that indeed two Americas are forming as we speak. One made up of those who love our nation and its cultural heart of faith, family, and freedom, while the other denigrates America and looks forward to a post-American world. Our educational institutions are increasingly taking on the attributes of these two Americas. And it looks like more and more patriots around the nation rising up and declaring unequivocally with their educational choices to which of these Americas they belong. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, subscribe to my channel. Definitely click on the link below and check out some of our awesome merch. And you will definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded it on how trust in the mainstream media completely collapses as the coverage of the Derek Chauvin trial turns into a pathetic kangaroo court. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.